This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today we're going underwater, looking at all different colors of coral, and we're going to be building our own reefs. Today, we're taking a look at Reef by Next Move Games, and it's designed by Emerson Matsuuchi. And this is sort of, Next Move Games is sort of a spin-off from Plan B games, which are all going to be abstract games that are simple to learn but have lots of depth and are 4 letters long. Like Azul was moved into this line, and Reef is the follow-up to that. It's for 2 to 4 players. Let me show you how it works. I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get a reef and one of each of the types of reef that are there. Notice that the colors are different, but so are the symbols, so it's very colorblind friendly. There's also an advanced way to set up where you can set up a little bit more strategically, but here's a good starting way to do it. Everyone's also going to get 2 cards. Over the course of the game, you're going to get points by scoring certain things on the bottoms of these cards. There's also a supply of each of those 4 types of reefs, and there's a certain amount of those depending on the amount of players. Regardless of the amount of players, there's always going to be 3 cards down like this, and then the deck is going to be essentially face up like this. So on your turn, it's very simple. You're going to do one of 2 things. You're either going to draw one of these cards, or you're going to play one of the cards. If you draw a card, you'll simply just take the card and add it to your hand, and then this will refill like this. If you do end up buying or getting the one that's on top, you end up spending a point and you place it on the one that has the lowest amount of point value like this, and if someone grabs this card, then they'll get this and they get that point right away. Points are tracked with these tokens. Now you can have a maximum of 4 of these cards. Again, these are hidden in your hand. No one else can see what you have there. And if you have 4 cards, you have to play. So you're either picking up cards or playing cards. When you play a card, you play it down next to you face up. First, you're always going to do what's on top. Here it tells me to take 2 of those yellow reefs like that, and you're going to place them here on your board. So you can place them pretty much anywhere on the board. You can stack them up. You can put them down like this. Now, when you do things like this and you stack them, they can never be higher than 4 high. But other than that, you can pretty much do anything with them. Then you're going to possibly score what's on the bottom of that card. In this case, it says for every purple that you see, and it's always top down looking down, you'll get a point. In this case, I see 1 purple. But if I had, say, a purple here, I'd get 2 points. If I had purples on top of these, I would have gotten a total of 4 points. So you can do this scoring as many times as you want, which makes the game very interesting. And turns just go clockwise, either taking a card or playing a card. So let's say in my next turn, let's say I took this one, I put another point here, I added it to my hand, then on a subsequent turn I wanted to play those cards. So you're really trying to figure out the timing of these cards. For example, this one's going to get me 4 points for every stack that's exactly 3 tall that has yellow on top. These 2 are stacked 2 with yellow on top. Well, I can almost get 2 of these. That's going to get me 4 points twice, or 8 points. This one will allow me to do that, but I also have this. So, do I want to put them both on top, or do I want to start building for this? Or maybe I get my 4th and final card that I can hold, and then on my next turn I play this, and I put maybe 1 here, and then 1 here, and then maybe when it comes around to my next turn, I do this. And so you're not always scoring the bottom. You have to decide which ones you're going to try to score and which ones you're using just for the top. So maybe I get this, I do something like this, and I do something like this. Well, now we have a choice because I could play both of these on my next turns, once next turn and once the turn after. This one will get me 8 points, 4 for this one and 4 for this one. And when I play this one, I'm going to get 4 points here like this. But I could try to press my luck and try to find another card that has some yellows to then maybe get 3 stacks of these and that. So it's this balance of trying to, when are you going to go for the score, when are you not? Are people going to deny you cards? So let's say the next time we go like this, we play this, I'd get 2 greens, I'd have to start placing them out, pretty much following those rules. And again, I would get 8 points, 4 and 4. And on the next turn, let's say I get this, I play this card out, I would get a purple and a green. Let's say I want to start stacking these for certain reasons, knowing which cards are coming up maybe. And I'm going to get this for another 4 points. And now next turn I would have to draw cards because I'm out of cards. And of course, when you're getting points, you're getting them from a stack of tokens like that. That's essentially how you play the game. And you'll continue taking clockwise turns until any one of these reef colors go completely empty, and then the game will end at the end of that round, meaning everybody has an even number of turns, and very rarely it will end when the deck runs out. Then you just add up all your points, whoever's the most is the winner. All right, well, there's Reef. First of all, from a production standpoint, box looks amazing. Even the components, I love them because they are big, chunky bits. They look great on the table, and they're very colorblind friendly because not only are they different colors that I've played with 2 colorblind people, and both of them said they had no problem seeing these, but they also have the icons that would differentiate them, those two, so good job there. This game has simple turns, and I love games that have sort of the appearance of a simple game where things are just, hey, you do one of 2 things, but then the depth of those is huge. I call that my depth to complexity ratio. This is really high on that because the turns are very simple. You basically have 2 choices. You're picking up a card or you're playing a card. I love puzzly games, and this abstract is very puzzly in that right. You're trying to figure out, you've got these cards, and you're trying to figure out, A, should I draw or should I play? But you're also looking at the cards as to how they synergize with each other. How does what I'm getting at the top play into something that I'm going to score on the bottom of, say, another card? So you're trying to string these together, and the really crux of this is the timing of stringing those cards together, where you draw a card, and you're like, oh good, I can do this, and then I can play this other one and score. Well, you play that, and lo and behold, by the time it's your next turn, there's another card out there that would help you add to that. So, ooh, let me just delay that a little bit, I'll get this card and do this. And you have plans, and they're constantly changing, you're constantly going ebb and flows, you're trying to make sure you get the cards you need, but you're trying to score. And of course, you're trying to get all this done before the time runs out, and it can get a little bit tense towards the end. Now, this game, the first time I played it at Origins, at the end of it, I really liked it, and I said, you know what, this feels like a great, very tactical strategy game where if you like to look 1 or maybe 2 turns ahead, it's going to be good. But if you like some of that sort of more longer-term strategies and abstracts, I'm not sure this is going to be your game. However, after playing it more and more and more and more since Origins, at Origins, and since I've been home, I've actually seen that there's a lot of viable long-term strategies here, and they do become apparent after you've played multiple games, once you know the cards, because once you know what the cards do, okay, they score in right angles, or they score in, straight of 3 or diagonal of 3, or maybe they score by stacking certain levels. And once you know what those general scoring are, you can build towards that throughout the game. You can look at what's there. You can go, oh, you know what? I might score this now, this little quick and dirty things 1 and 2, but I'm building to a bigger overarching thing so that when that card does come up, if I'm able to get it, I could score 16 or maybe even 30 points on a card. It's possible towards the end of the game to do that. And it's very fulfilling when you're able to build towards a strategy, trying to get little points here and there, but then drop 1 or 2 really big ones at the end of the game. So I've seen that this game is very tactical, but it also can have longer term strategies. So I think either type of player can like this game. Now, another positive is someone might say this looks like multiplayer solitaire, and you are building your own board. But as I just mentioned, if you're going after a longer term strategy and you're playing with people that have played it many times and everyone knows what they're doing, you can really deny your opponents certain cards that would stop them from doing that. Either denying them the card that's going to let them build what they're building, or even more especially, denying them the card that's going to allow them to score the thing that they've been working on. Now, usually you're going to kind of start to build towards that thing after you have it in your hand, but sometimes you sort of back your way into some of these strategies. The second half of my last game, I had built a great big strategy at the beginning of the game. About halfway through, I got a 16-point card, and I was going to continue building on that, but another opportunity came, and I was able to do that, and someone could have stopped me as I started to pivot. So this game has a lot of things to think about. Now, anything I didn't like about it? Well, the game plays 2 to 4. I think I like it the best with 2. It does scale. You use a certain amount of coral for the amount of players. 2 players are going to get the most turns, then 3, and then 4 you'll have the least amount of turns. But with 4 players, the longer term planning that I was talking about, the longer strategic things, it's a little harder because by the time it gets back to your turn, there's 3 other players that have gone, and the chances of a card being there that you really wanted by the time it gets back to you is a little bit harder to come by. So the longer term strategies, you're really going to have to get the card first and try to work on it, as opposed to trying to back in and pivot to a new strategy, which is a lot easier with 2 players. Overall, I loved it. Tactical and strategic, it's pretty quick, 30 minutes or so. It has a lot to think about, lots of depth and lots of replayability. And for that, it's getting Saxophone Serenade. It's getting into my inducting into my gaming library. So before we hit that, this has been the Game Boy Geek, helping you find and enjoy the next board game you'll love.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.